Am I the asshole for not giving my cousins my emergency fund? Quick answer, no. Like, it's your money, you put that on the side, and emergency fund are there for yourself, for when you're really into shit and you gotta pay for your apartment but you lost your job or shit like that. Like, it's not made to be given to anyone or everyone. Hi, 24 female. I'm a bit of a paranoid when it comes to money. I didn't grow up in poverty, but times are tough and the idea of living paycheck to paycheck makes me uncomfortable. Pretty fair. It's important to mention that I have a stable, good-paying job, but I struggled a lot during college since my parents were not able to save money for my college fund. I worked shitty jobs and was constantly exhausted during those years. I still ended up in some debt, and I want to be free of it ASAP. Pretty fair. Basically, like, and I think everybody that went to college and had to pay for its own stuff lived through that hardship of not having enough and not having the time to be able to make enough. So pretty freaking fair. When I landed this job, I decided to start an It's also pretty important to mention that I come from a pretty religious family. When I landed this job, I decided to start an emergency fund. I put aside a few $100s every month, so in case anything happens, I get sick, I lose my job, etc., I will not end up in more debt, or even worse, the only people that know about it are my sister, who also plans to start her own emergency fund after she graduates and lands a good job, and I 100% trust my sister, so I think my aunt or something else overheard us talking about it. That's fair. It's pretty fair. How's it going, KK? Damn. When I landed this job, I'm repeating myself. Now the issue is, my cousin, 22 male, girlfriend, 22 female, is pregnant and they decided to keep it even though they know damn well they can't afford it. None of them has a stable job, inheritance, anything. A few days ago, he came to ask me to give him my emergency fund, since he is having an emergency. You know, you don't get what's the concept of an... Okay, sorry. Emergency fund is for your own emergency or the one of the people that are so dear to you that you would consider them to be your own emergency. And I'm talking like your own kids, yourself, your significant other, maybe your parent if you're that kind of human that is really like strongly into family, but your cousin asking for it, fudge that entitlement. He does not deserve it. And if he was not ready to have a kid, he should just have used more protection or yet take some decision that fits with the fact that you're not ready to have a kid. I was speechless. I asked him what he was talking about, even though I knew, but I couldn't believe someone can have this audacity. He told me he knew I have some saving and he desperately needs them. He didn't even mention giving the money back. I told him those are my saving for when I have an emergency, but he pulled the family helps family card. I still said no. That's fine. It is extremely fair. That is your emergency fund. While I understand they are in a difficult situation, I still think it's not fair that I am asked to pay for his mistake. It isn't. I told him they should think more about what they are going to do in the future and how they are going to support this child if none of them has a stable income. And even if I give them my saving, those money are not enough for only enough for a few months. For me, for a family of 3, even less. I did not mention abortion, adoption, or anything, so you did not make yourself the asshole there. You're just like, what do you plan to do for that child? Just that they are irresponsible for having a kid when none of them is financially stable. He eventually left me alone, but started to tell the rest of the family that I told him to get rid of the baby, which, if I follow what you said, you didn't, which is not true at all. My parents and my sister are on my side, but the rest of the family started harassing us and calling me a godless witch. Am I the... Nope. She's not the asshole. What the fudge? How the hell can you be so entitled that you think the work of someone else, someone owes it to you? Like, how insensible can you be? How much out of this world can you be to consider that it's normal to ask for someone else to give you their saving? You also clean fudge, absolutely. Honestly, I don't get it. There is absolutely no way If my cousin asked me to lend him some money and he says like, I'm gonna give it back to you in less than X month, that's something. But he's not asking for a lending, he's asking for a gift. But you don't owe him shit. Like, I know sometimes a baby happen and it's not planned, okay? But if it's the case, if you are not able to take care of a child you're gonna bring onto the world, like, there's so much shit happening. Adding one other possibility of chaos in your life. Me and my wife were ready when we got ours. We planned her. We still had to, like, I still have to end my university. She still has to end her university. But we were in a place where it was possible to make sense out of that. And we decided that we wanted one and we would go through that hardship. But there's some hardship coming into it. Like, all your time when you're not taking care of something that is job related, you're basically having to take care of that little thing. You cannot just like have it on a half timer. And no, like, I would not wish on anyone to have to live through the hardship of having money difficulties and a baby in the same time. But you do not go and beg for the money of a family member because you were too dumb to take that into consideration before you made that baby, you know? And like, my wife went for the very, very harsh commentary that I will keep for us, but you probably could read it like 5 minutes ago on the bottom part. And how's it going, Henry Reaper? So yeah. So, can a mom be killed if the baby dies in her? Absolutely, Kay. This is something that can happen. If it takes too long, there's the possibility of having an infection because like the dead fetus is going to be in there. But usually when you are having a baby, when you're pregnant, you are followed pretty closely by at least one medical expert, which will be able to tell you before there's too many consequences. In Canada and in the US, by example, so that you will know very early when the fetus is not is not making it, you know. And even if your pregnancy goes absolutely perfectly, you have like 1 chance out of 5, and that's in America, to lose the baby. Like, nothing is wrong. We don't see anything in the genoma that would trigger the fact that the fetus would not do it. You don't see anything that would like tell us that there's a uterine like no problem. And you still have 1 chance out of 5 of this to fail, just like the fetus won't reach maturity. And that's normal. That's true stats. That's even worse if you have like already some problematic that will make it harder for a fetus to grow in there. How's it going, Ed Reaper? By the way, it's been a while. I haven't seen your face. 5 days. and so yeah, you like having a teacher as a streamer. Feel free to ask any question. Worst case scenario, I won't know. But I'm also the one teaching about sexuality in my school. I don't teach the biological part of it. I teach the relationship part of it. So yeah, you know, like everything that is not biological get taught by me in school. So fun stuff. All the other teachers want to avoid that. I'm just the one that is like, it's all cool. We're going to talk about that with the kids, like relationship and stuff like that. Give it to me. We can deal with that. So yeah, sorry, been around and doing well. I'm happy, Ed. And you have a brother to explain all of that. That's all good. And so, like, if you are followed by a specialist, you should not have a dead fetus inside you that's going to kill you. But like, we got told that you could have some consequences that could go up to death. But like, the first thing that may happen if there's a dead fetus inside of you, like just laying around, you might become infertile. And yeah, what? Yeah, exactly. I did not say like us because I did not think it was worth the mention. We lost our first one and we basically had that kind of thing, like, and they gave us some option. I'm gonna keep all of that PG-13, but I'm sorry, some part of it might sound a little graphic for some people. So if you are the kind that have a hard time thinking about mention of blood or stuff like that, you take a 5. Okay. And let's save. So that situation happened to my wife, and we had a few options. The one that was the less complicated on the long term was to basically cause a medical abortion, where you take some pills and you wait for the thing to wash itself, or to wait for the nature to do it. But if nature does not do its job, there could be some complication. And we were like, okay, let's not wait for the complication, let's go for the pill. The features was that, like, we did not abort, we just, like, it's the same product they give you. You're one of the 4 that made it for your mom. Yay! You're one of 4 that made it for your mom. Ooh. Like, I know that before me there was 1 failure for my mom. I know, 2 failure before me for my mom and 1 after me. So that everything was going well. So yeah, well, we had some complication even with the pill. Sadly, we almost lost my wife. The fetus got kind of stuck in between the place and in between the uterus and the vagina, like technically, like the part that is called like this, and it was just causing external bleeding to a very, very scary amount, to the point that we went to the hospital and we basically got told that if we would have waited till the next day, she would have bled out dry. Fun stuff. So yeah, now those that took the 5, you can come back. Welcome back, Joey. So yeah, I went to that because you fear either you will lose the baby, the dad leaves, or a child hasn't had their childhood. Honestly, I don't know how to tell that. There's nothing wrong with adoption. No matter who tells me that they are down for adoption, that is not a bad, that is a very good option. There are so many people that has been born, and that sadly there's no one that is willing to take care of them, because that can be for half a dozen reasons. Like maybe both the parent died. Like that could be something very, very rough, as something as sad as, well, they bring her to the world, but they did not give a damn about that baby, you know? Or that was a second child in China and they could not pay for the debt that comes with it. So like it could be something as simple or as traumatic as that, and all those kids still needs to have a family, still need some love. It's not true that the mother and the father of a kid are the one that are providing for the genetics. The mother and the father of a child are always going to be, up to my own POV, the one that are providing for the values of that so-called child. Yeah, it's not a bad option to go for adoption there. And now that you can't abort children, many, oh, in the US you mean, oh, that's going to be absolutely atrocious. KK, either there's going to be many more kids left in orphanage, either that, or there's going to be a lot of family left in poverty. Because like people that are against abortion are also not the most keen or the most like willing to go and support those family once those childs are born. Like they are pro-life until the person is living, and once the person's a person, it's funny how they stop giving a single damn about them. Like, yeah. You can lead more to more death too. This can lead to more death. This can lead to a lot more problem. We know that. The stats are pretty much like given around that. People are not realizing how bad it is. So clearly we have a lot of people to say, not the asshole, is lack of planning is not your emergency. I think like there's not going to be anyone. If his family think you are so awful, why aren't they handling over their own cash? Not the asshole, and far from it. If you give him money, he'll probably come back asking for more. Yes, to earn your money. His child is not your burden, and not. It's kind of sad though, because like this child, it's my point of view. Okay, like you either start in life with a parental insurance or a parental mortgage. Basically, like, there is so many child that are born with good parents that even if they would be like under average or like mediocre, they will end up doing good because the parents were there to support them. And like, you take someone that is average, you give them good parent, and he's going to be above average. And sadly, you don't decide who are your parent. That song traumatized you? Really? and we have the opposite, where you will have like average kid that will have bad parents and will end up under average, end up in shit because like the parent were not ready to have a child or were not ready to take care of one. So like, kind of hurts me. I had kids in my classes that were doing bad, and when you're calling home and you get onto like parents that are willing to support you and help the child, you're like, good, I'm gonna work for that. But sometimes you call one home and you get told by one of the parents, what's happening in school is not my problem, go fudge yourself. And they just like knock off the line, and you're like, oh my god, now I don't know. Do I keep on trying knowing that this kid has no one to tell him education is important? Or do I stop giving a damn because clearly its own parent does not?